Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Omaha, Nebraska, or at least that's where I'm at for now on a little vacation, but that still doesn't mean I don't need to leave and send you a note. And the Lord's talking this morning as I was doing my devotions, and so I thought I would remind you all of His presence again through a fireside chat today. Excuse me, I was still kind of getting my body moving here. My throat is kind of cloggy, so I apologize for that. Yesterday we had a great day here with visiting one of our kids and my youngest son, Micah. And in the midst of the day, there was a few jobs that were done. He wanted to kind of darken an area of his house so he could see screens better and kind of cut the darkness in his house a little darker, and some other things. And so Becky and I and Sophie and Micah went to the store and bought a blackout curtain and the things to do it, and succeeded very well. And in the midst of the job, he decided suddenly he was going to do one of the other things on his list, which was to just basically change two light switches, a left switch that lights the right side of the room and the right switch that lights the left side, and make them match the lights so it made sense. And so, we reminded him, oh, you better check off all those things about turning off all the circuit breakers and all those parts, and he did all those things, and he switched the electricity even without the help of his brother-in-law, Nevin. So proud of him. And yet, everything got put back together. And then this morning as I got out and I'm walking around, I'm thinking I'm doing my devotional reading, and I went to the light switches and I turned them on. Of course, now working the way they're supposed to, the right switch working for the right light and the left switch working for the left. And it reminded me of thinking about Micah and taking him on college visits, and then the thoughts that came up with being a parent. And the fact that, when kids are young, there's a time when you really get a chance to be with them and love them. You get a chance to work with them and do things for them, and that's a great part of being a parent. But then also there's a time that comes where they no longer need you, per se. And that's not really the truth, but they in themselves, and you all know this who are older, they in themselves begin to act and function as adults, and they think they don't need anything or anyone. We all act like that on a regular basis. But you have that sense of loss because you don't get to do those things. You're not needed in a sense in life anymore. And that made me think about how, as Micah was switching the light switches, how proud I was that he didn't need me to do that. He was able to, he's grown to a place where he can play with electricity and safely and move things and do what he needs to do. And so my thoughts went to being one of God's children, and how if God is the Father and He has had a time when we were younger, when we longed to be with Him, and then how we start to run away and wander off and do all the things we do, demonstrating that we don't really need Him in our life and want Him in our life. And in many ways, we just go walking without Him, how He must feel in the midst of all those things that we demonstrate we really don't need Him. We give Him a tawdry little call or shout out every once in a while. Hey, don't forget, I know you're out there. I know you're out there. Especially if there's a big problem. Not like any kid. I can come home and borrow money if I need to, right? But even more so, what does it feel like for God to watch those children and long for them? And I was thinking of 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 8 and 9, where in short Peter says, God is always longing for your best outcome, and He is always wanting to be there and have you come back to Him, and how patient He is in waiting. The fact that 1 year is like 1,000 in God's eyes. 1 day in God's eyes is like 1,000 in ours, and how wonderful it is that God is so long suffering and patient with us, waiting for His children to come home and realize that they do need Him and to have a different relationship with Him, and not to be functioning independently from Him, but realizing He's wanting to be a part of and helping them succeed and grow in everything they do, and proper credit being given to Him as to who and why we succeed as we do. So as I sat and watched that last night and sat and used the lights this morning and thought of Him and thought of life and thought of God, it just came to me that In truth, it's a really interesting piece to ask the question, am I still the kid who's out there running around as if I don't need any help? Am I the person who still tends to believe that in reality I'm actually achieving something? Or am I one who's starting to, through growing to closer to Christ's presence, beginning to realize more and more how I do need him and how I do need to get engaged with him and how I do need to respond to him differently? I remember driving with Micah on the way to those college visits, and he slept most of the weekend as we went to visit 3 schools, Wisconsin and actually Illinois and University of Omaha, Nebraska. And as we drove, he slept most of the time, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to get to show him anything anymore. The time is up. His 18th year is here, and he's about to go out on his own. And of course, now he's married and lives on his own, has a job on his own, and all those things came true. And yet God gave me the grace to be able to take him and show him Tanzania and to climb a mountain with him and to continue to seek to be a part of life with him and to encourage him and to be a part of how he grows in his faith life still to this day. And that's what God's wanting you and I to realize too. He's still looking for adventures for us to take together. He's still looking for ways to lead us out with him into the world. He is still longing to have us come home and be different. And in the world around us, as we see it, it's changing rapidly and not for the best. And again, I'm not saying that it's the end time, those kind of things, but the world is clearly taking another definite change and strengthening itself and its posture basically against God. But the truth is, God's still waiting. He's still longing. He's still looking. He's still seeking for you and I to come and be with him. So this morning, I hope you take a moment, and every day I hope you take a moment to set yourself the question, how will I connect with my Father today? How will I spend time and walk with him? And how will I remember him constantly in the things I'm doing so that I can see a difference in my own life as I go forward? I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a safe and hopefully cool enough week to survive things. And that God just continues to bless you until we get together again, whether I get to see you or get seen by you. May God keep you safe. Bye-bye.